I ended up popping up at a bench over there that she had, and that's how I started my bookstore, was as a pop-up.
It was interesting to me that it was a woman who opened this bar and had a lot of interest in her story and about her legacy as a business owner.
How many times do you get this chance? My answer was like, I missed it once before.
I'm Victor Hwang. Over the past quarter century, I've been on a mission to foster economic prosperity by giving people the tools to lift themselves up. I've worked with over 300 communities, cities, states, and even entire countries. I envision a world where everyone has a fair shot at building their entrepreneurial dreams. And when communities lift their entrepreneurs, we all benefit. More jobs, higher incomes, less poverty, less inequality. The significance of entrepreneurship in a community goes beyond mere products, services, or dollars. It's about the people. This week, we're in Northwest Arkansas. It's a region that's changing fast, combining old traditions with new energy. Entrepreneurs here are breaking the mold, reinventing the future, and connecting to their community in new ways, all while honoring the region's history and culture.
I realized I should talk to an expert before I started running around town, so I called my friend Jeannette from the Northwest Arkansas Council.
So, what do you do, Jeannette? Tell us about your work here in Northwest Arkansas.
So I am an entrepreneurial development consultant, and I work primarily with Northwest Arkansas Council. We're a nonprofit that started in 1990, so all the big enterprise founders created this nonprofit to work on infrastructure. And that's where I focus a lot of my time, is how do we meet entrepreneurs where they are, help them start and grow here. Because of the terrain and because we weren't able to necessarily grow crops that you might ordinarily see in Arkansas, it's like that old adage of necessity, what is it? I know you know.
Necessity is the mother of invention?
Yes, that's exactly what it is. And that is what really created this ingenuity of the people here to think about what's missing, how can I improve, what can I do that's resourceful with the assets that we have. And I think you see that everywhere in Northwest Arkansas.
After meeting with Jeannette, she said to visit a local bar with owner Hannah Withers, who's an excellent example of that Northwest Arkansan spirit. After years of starting, selling, running small businesses, it became her second nature to solve problems. Maxine's tap room opened in the 1950s and has been the local watering hole ever since. Let's check it out.
Welcome to Maxine's. This is my favorite place to bring new friends. My husband and I have been caretaking Maxine's for almost 10 years. It's been here since 1950. It was opened by Maxine Miller, who was a single woman at the time, during a time when a woman couldn't even have her own checking account.
1950?
Yeah.
Wow, so this goes back a ways. So I see so many photos and mementos on the wall here. Are there any of them that really stand out to you?
It's pretty amazing. Maxine's family pretty much saved everything from the bar. They have all the old light fixtures. They have 3 jukeboxes and 2, they call them the ding-ding machines. They're bowling machines.
Ding-ding machines.
It kind of makes a loud ding-ding when you make a strike on the bowling machine.
What's your favorite memento here?
I think I love the picture of Maxine with the Clydesdales. She opened the same year that our local Budweiser distributor opened in 1950, and they celebrated their anniversaries together. So each year when the Budweiser Clydesdales would come through, they would pick up Maxine and do a parade down the street.
Whoa.
And I just love her in her early 50s, sort of pencil skirt, beautiful dress, and these big horses right in front of the bar. That's my favorite shot.
Well, we're here at a bar. Let's grab a drink.
All right, I think I'm going to teach you how to make a Negroni.
Sounds great.
Okay. All right. This is everything that we need for a perfect day drinking experience.
Wow, for me, this looks a bit intimidating.
This is a drink that I order in every cocktail bar. This is sort of my litmus test. And a Negroni is really easy to make because it's equal parts of all 3 spirits. I'm gonna give you the beginner's jigger.
Sounds good to me.
We'll give you a certificate and a gold star when you're done if you do it right.
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited for my gold star.
Fast is how you don't spell. But
Okay.
a baby away from yourself.
All right.
Yeah, we're gonna do another one of those.
Yeah, clearly I've never done this before.
There you go.
There we go.
Mhm.
All right. And
See, look, you didn't even splash any that time.
First time I was an amateur, second time I'm a pro.
They're a lot of different orange spirits like Capoletti and Aperol.
See, I spilled it.
That's okay, you're learning.
That's the amateur
I
in
won't
me.
dock it from your pay
All
yet.
right. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll give you an hour.
After 2 days on the job, though. All right. Okay.
And the way that you
So
stir.
a good Negroni has just the right amount of water in it.
Yes, we're gonna stir it until it's diluted. Out here, you're trying not to agitate the ice to get a bunch of air in it.
I don't want. I'm creating bubbles in.
You don't want to create
I don't
bubbles.
want to create
Those
bubbles
are the
right now.
air. Yeah,
Right.
otherwise, we'd be shaking.
But I'm accidentally creating bubbles right now.
I think we should start with floor mopping first, and we'll work our way up to Negronis. What do you think? Yeah. Cheers.
Cheers.
Hannah's dedication to innovation and her community was contagious. Sadly, her bartending skills, with me around, not so much.
What inspired this to actually take a legacy bar and buy it and turn it into something fresh? What made you do that?
My husband and I owned the Artisan Bakery across the street, and we collectively, as business owners, had started an annual festival that was for our street, and we sort of made a lot of friendships and relationships with other people on the street, and we became friends with Andrea, who's Maxine's great niece, who inherited and actually owns the building and the bar. We were able to sort of change and finesse some changes in this bar, and she was open to it, and it just kind of worked. I think we've had a really good relationship for a long time, and it was interesting to me that it was a woman who opened this bar and had a lot of interest in her story and about her legacy as a business owner. I don't think of it as a brand or a business, and it's sort of a living, breathing extension of somebody who put in decades of her life. And so we have a deep respect for that because we've created our own places, and you know, they always say that you can't pick your customers and they pick you, and it's interesting to sort of watch this place shift just in 10 years and become a new place to me all the time.
I love how you had a vision of the street and a vision of the community, and that pulled you into this conversation with Maxine's family.
I think we've always done that in our businesses. We love to support farmers that grow local things. We love local syrup companies. I mean, there are so many people doing what we do, but just a little bit differently, that it makes sense for all of us to lift each other up and share what we do and highlight each other.
Well, you've done so much for this community. What could they do for you today?
Oh, I think just keep drinking good cocktails and they'll be fine.
Cheers to entrepreneurs.
Cheers.
And,
And small business.
and small businesses.
Next, our team hit the road and drove over to Springdale to meet Diana Dominguez. Diana opened a bookstore called Mas Libritos earlier this year, fulfilling a lifelong dream. However, as I talked with her, we learned that opening the store was merely the beginning of her journey.
This is your first time here,
First time
right?
here, yeah.
Yeah, so my bookstore is called Mas Libritos Bookstore. Everything that I have within my collection, it has been authored or illustrated by someone from the BIPOC community, so that is someone that's Black, Indigenous, or a person of color. So I've got cookbooks, I've got some Spanish fiction, nonfiction, some poetry. I've got English fiction, nonfiction, young adult.
But there's a lot of food here going on, right?
Yeah.
Why food? What's the big deal about food?
Well, I think food is really important in our culture, so I think it often is what brings us together. And so I also see these cookbooks as ways to kind of pass down some of that history and some memory, but also just to have fun. I mean, we have some trejo, cantina, how to make a cocktail, you know, something that's fun, engaging.
So I just saw these candles here. You got to explain to me, Rihanna and Selena. Tell me what's going on here.
Yeah, so actually traditionally we have, within our Mexican culture, we have candles that we light, and typically they have like saints, but this is more like a contemporary modern take on it. So this is why we have Rihanna.
They're like our modern Lady of Guadalupe? Is
Yeah,
that, okay.
yeah. I mean, those who are watching might think that's blasphemous, but it's okay, yeah. So I think what I'm doing is disrupting the canon. So I feel like growing up, you know, there were these, what we consider canon, or these classical literature, and versus me, it's like, and what I present, it's really difficult, especially as BIPOC authors. So I feel like I'm adding a little bit of my own kind of support by helping elevate their books within the bookstore.
So it sounds like the idea of a bookstore has been in your head for a long time, but there must have been a moment where you said, okay, I'm doing it.
Yeah.
What was that moment?
Yeah, so that would have probably been last September when I was here at Bites and Bowls, and Sandra, who is one of the co-owners and co-founders of Bites and Bowls, she works now also for a nonprofit that supports entrepreneurs, minoritized entrepreneurs with microloans. And so we'd had conversations of like, I don't know how it came up, but it came up of like my desire to open up a bookstore. And if you haven't gotten the chance to meet her, she's very much like a go-getter. And she's like, okay, what can we do? Let's make this happen. And I was just like, I just came here to get my lunch and talk to you really quickly and leave, you know? So we chatted and I was like, I just don't have like the capital. I don't have the space. I mean, I was already with these, like, I don't have all these things, you know, but she was like, well, why don't you, I mean, we talked about the model of doing a pop-up bookstore, which is part of my history and how this has come about. I ended up popping up at a bench over there that she had, and that's how I started my bookstore, was as a pop-up model.
What made you think that this was important for you to take on as a mission?
Yeah, I mean, so when I talk about the bookstore, I always say we, even though it's just me running the bookstore, but really for me, it's bringing to light our stories. And so for me, it's just creating a space where people can come together. Even creating this, being the first Latina-owned and the only Latina-owned independent bookstore in Arkansas, I think is also making history for Arkansas in a different way.
Wow. So people really believed in you and
Yeah.
took a chance on this bookstore.
Yeah.
And it seems like it's meant a lot to people in the community.
I think so. I mean, I think I'm getting emotional because I think people come and they get emotional. I think something about the books, I think it's like it brings back memories for them. Like it's like, I wish I would have had that when I was younger. And I'm like, me too, you know? So I think it's, people just get really emotional. And actually they start sharing their life story with me. And I'm like, oh, I was not ready for this, you know? They start sharing like this story, this instance that somehow the book kind of drew up for them. So I think it's been also emotional for both of us, like for myself as the owner, but also for people that are coming in and doing the shopping.
Does a place become special on its own, or is it made special by those who love and invest in it? Mas Librito is an example of the return a community sees when people feed small businesses. About 5 minutes down the road sits Ozark Climbing Gym. Owners Jason and Bridget Groves bought the gym 10 years ago and haven't looked back since.
So this is just like the newest part of the gym for us. We just finished an expansion. It wasn't a year ago that this part we just walked through was a bathroom. So in the busiest week of our year, we tore out a whole wall. We got a whole bunch of old office spaces ripped down. We got new HVAC. And we planned a competition where we've got hundreds of people coming through in like a day and a half. So it's brand new climbing wall, it's brand new terrain in a style that we've never had before. So even through being an owner, we still view the gym through a customer's eyes as best we can. We want to create a place that if we didn't own the gym, we'd still want to be here.
So what's a good beginner's route? Like if someone was trying to get started?
So what we would look for new climbers would be white tagged climbs. If you've got some bravery about you, these blue holds over here is a great starting point. It's super doable. I also think it's got really fun movement.
All right, well, let's get some shoes on and some chalk and let's get going.
Let's do it.
Let's give it a shot.
Ready to get started?
I guess so. First time ever.
Sure.
And I've got an entire camera crew here with me, so no
Yeah,
pressure at all.
it's super normal.
And I'm perfectly well dressed for climbing today.
I usually try
I'm
to get
looking
my
forward.
shirts
This
well
is good.
pressed, but
well-pressed shirts.
yeah, you don't have to down climb.
I saw the movie Free Solo.
Sure. Yeah.
And that stuff is so impressive.
Yeah. Alex Honnold's nutty.
So this is my first step towards that.
Yes, they're definitely related.
All right, let's see. No, it's a long ways down. I'm killing it.
Doing great.
El Capitan, here I come.
You got it.
There we go.
Nice. Graceful.
Yeah, perfect ending.
Perfect.
I stuck
as
the
well.
landing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Perfect. That's a workout. Like you can feel it's like a whole body. I can see how people get addicted to this stuff.
You know, for us customers, but also community members, getting to make those connections with other people. So a lot of bouldering is downtime. You're just sitting down because you're gassed. So you get to sit there and you're looking at the wall and someone else walks up and they're like, hey, what are you working on? And you're like, the green one over there. And you're like, oh, me too. And you start talking about that climb. And then all of a sudden you've started talking about like your favorite bands and what you're doing this weekend. And it just, like, that connection is so organic and it's so easy if you just get people in the room together.
So it's just beautiful. Like, it really is a family, and you know, can grow into something much more than just, you know, members climbing on climbing walls.
We still remember who the climber is. I don't think she knows the impact she had on us, but just watching this young woman just like float through a sequence on the wall that like I couldn't even conceive of being possible at the time, just being so new, and just like the grace and strength of it was when I knew that like I had found something that I really wanted to do, and it's that thing that I'm fortunate enough to experience with so many other people that really keeps like me psyched to keep, you know, sometimes like coming in and drudging away, because not every day is, you know, 100%, but like that moment, I hold on to that, and I cherish that a lot. Like that's the deal for me.
No broken bones, thank goodness. Leaving the climbing gym, I reflected on the strong bouldering community that Jason and Bridget have spent years building. And after talking with some experts in the community, I think it's pretty representative of the overall entrepreneurial ecosystem of Northwest Arkansas. We wanted our entrepreneurs to understand the huge role each of them play within their communities, so I met up with all the heroes and their biggest supporters for a party at Maxines to celebrate their impact. Sometimes business building feels so big and insurmountable and lonely, and each of our heroes talked about times they felt like giving up. When you feel like you're running on a hamster wheel, small encouragements make a huge difference. Local business is the framework of our lives, and entrepreneurship has been a part of civilization for as long as it's been around. It doesn't only make our lives better, it's our lifeline. It changes the way we learn. It encourages us to stop and appreciate our past and how far we've come. It allows us to express ourselves and make connections. All of these stories have the same common thread: people showing up for each other and coming together for the common good. So the next time you're out getting a drink, eating at a restaurant with your family, or shopping at a local store, take a moment to think about the community of entrepreneurs who make your landscape special.